much for joining us for today's webinar, How School Districts Can Help Ensure P-EBT is a Success. My name is Kelsey Boone, and I am a Child Nutrition Policy Analyst at the Food Research and Action Center. And today we will touch upon what P-EBT is and specific challenges and strategies that school districts can employ to ensure their students can access this critical benefit. We will then hear from Amy Virus from the School District of Philadelphia to talk about the strategies that school district used to carry out P-EBT outreach and implementation. Next slide. So before we get started, I'm just going to give some background on the program. P-EBT was created through the Families First Coronavirus Response Act in March of 2020. The program provides an EBT card to children who are missing meals due to school or childcare closures and virtual instruction. This fall, Congress extended and expanded P-EBT for the 2020-2021 school year, and at the end of January, the USDA released guidance on how states can implement P-EBT this school year. This expansion included the ability for states to issue benefits to children under the age of 6 whose households participate in SNAP and live in or attend childcare in an area where one or more schools or child care facilities are closed or are operating with reduced attendance or hours. To implement P-EBT for school-age children and children in childcare, states must submit a detailed plan on how they will issue benefits to eligible children and families. Many states have approved plans, and many more are in the process of creating their plans. In January, the Biden administration increased the daily benefit value to $6.82 per full school day. This is a 16% increase compared to last school year. States are calculating the total monthly benefit based off of school calendars. Fully virtual students will receive the maximum benefit, while hybrid students will receive a partial benefit. These benefit levels will vary by state given schedules and other considerations. Next slide. As of today, 38 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico have been approved to issue benefits for the 2020-2021 school year. 17 of those states have plans for children under 6 that live in SNAP households. We have created a map on our webpage that links to all approved states' P-EBT web pages so partners can get detailed information of how P-EBT works in their states and links to state-specific outreach materials. Next slide. As far as eligibility for the program for school-age children, a child who would be eligible for free or reduced price meals if the National School Lunch Program were operating normally and is unable to access these meals because school is closed or has been operating with reduced attendance or hours for at least 5 consecutive days in the current school year is eligible to receive the benefit. This includes children who are enrolled in a community eligibility school that provides all students with free meals through the National School Lunch Program. Families that become eligible during the school year given changing circumstances are also able to receive benefits. So they must submit a free or reduced price school meals application to get to their school district to be approved in order to get the full benefit. If students are virtual, they will receive benefits for all school days they are virtual. If they participate in a hybrid model, they will receive a lower benefit based off of the days that they were virtual. While this webinar is focused on what school districts can do for school-age children, I did want to share eligibility information for kids under 6 in case you get questions from families. The scope is a bit narrower for children under 6. All children under the age of 6 in households that receive SNAP at any time since October 1st, 2020 are eligible for P-EBT benefits if they lived in or attended childcare in an area where one or more schools or childcare facilities are closed or operating with reduced attendance or hours. How school closures are determined also varies from state to state depending on their plan approved. Next slide. So some newer, really exciting information is the American Rescue Plan that the Biden administration passed in March included benefits for P-EBT benefits for the summer of 2021. And just this week, USDA released guidance on what this issuance would look like. All eligible students for free or reduced price meals through the National School Lunch Program are eligible for P-EBT benefits for summer of 2021. The benefits are treated as an extension of the 2020-2021 school year, so students who attended a school that adopted community eligibility for this past school year, 2020-2021, will automatically be eligible to receive benefits, and those who graduated during the school year will also receive benefits. School meal applications must be accessible for the newly eligible students to apply throughout the summer, and any student deemed eligible during the covered summer period will receive the entire summer benefit. States are also required to have a P-EBT plan for the 2020-2021 school year to be able to distribute summer benefits. Newly eligible students for free or reduced price meals must be given the opportunity to apply for school meals, and if deemed eligible before the end of the summer period, will receive the full benefit. I wanted to just state that again because it will require that schools accept free or reduced price meal applications through the summer. So that is another piece that it is going to be important for school districts. So for the benefits, there's a national standard benefit that states can opt to issue, which is $375 for the whole summer, or they can issue a state standard amount based on an approved plan through USDA. Next slide. So we wanted to go over some strategies that districts can implement to ensure access to P-EBT. The first is to make sure that your school submits the requested data to administering state agencies by their requested deadlines. This is really important to ensure that all students will be able to receive their benefits and that your district is able to get benefits out to the correct students in a timely manner. If you are offering meals through summer nutrition programs, it's important to continue to collect and process school meal applications. If you need some more strategies for that, you can see FRAC's strategies to increase school meal application returns for more information, including some sample resources to make the connection between school meal applications and P-EBT. And also encourage families to update any changes in their address in the school district system to ensure that the P-EBT card will be received and to avoid delays in families receiving benefits. Next slide. From the last round, we learned a lot of families that when they called their schools, many staff members were unaware of P-EBT and were unable to assist families. So schools should ensure that all staff, particularly administrative staff and those who answer phone calls, are able to answer some of the more frequently asked questions about P-EBT. We should also ensure that if a staff member doesn't have an answer to a question asked, they know who to contact to pass on the call or get the information for the person calling. Staff should also be able to assist with address updates and program information, as well as direct families to free and reduced price meal applications. Districts should also be able to disseminate information in multiple languages, depending on the most frequently utilized languages in their area to reach immigrant communities. It is also key to stress that this benefit has no impact under public charge. They should also work with homeless liaisons to determine the best way to issue cards, whether that be sending to their school directly to ensure students receive their cards, or finding another way to ensure benefits reach the child. Equally as important is working with child welfare agencies to ensure all foster students receive their benefits and aiding with applications if required by the state. Next slide. Finally, when benefits are available, it's important to use all of your communications media, and that would be websites, letters to parents and guardians, social media, virtual learning platforms, maybe even putting information in grab-and-go meal bags and robocalls and texts to share information with families about how P-EBT will work this school year. On this slide, we have included a few of our communications resources, including a toolkit, and we also have updated our shared communications resources drive with materials approved states have been putting out this school year. We also included a link to our customizable outreach materials, which are able to be branded with your organization's logo, as well as filled in with state-specific details to spread the word about P-EBT. All of these materials will help give guidance on how to spread the word about the program. Next slide. So really quickly, I just wanted to show you one example that we found of a really good outreach and it is in Nye County School District in Nevada. They posted a call for free and reduced price meal applications and stressed that this is also tied to P-EBT, and gave parents a portal to update their address information as well as submit this application. They've also posted P-EBT flyers in both English and Spanish, as well as included more information on their webpage. This is just one example of great outreach performed by a district. And to hear more about what districts have done, I'm going to turn it over to Amy to speak about the School District of Philadelphia and their great work on P-EBT. So Amy?
Thank you, Kelsey. Appreciate that. You can hit the next slide. So just to give you a little bit of information about our school district, we do have about 125,000 students, 250 buildings, and we do qualify as 100% free under CEP. So we do not collect meal applications, which in this pandemic EBT benefit has actually been really helpful because we're able to actually give this benefit to all of the students in our district. But that also means that we have to manage information for 120,000 students and get that information up to our state to process the benefit. So if you could hit the next slide. There are a few key things that I wanted to share that I found to be helpful when we first started working within the first round of pandemic EBT. And that was really coordinating within our district the resources to make sure that everyone understands what needs to be done in order for our families to receive this benefit. And our main goal is to get the most accurate address to the state. So when the cards are mailed to the families, it gets to the right place. We have a very transient population. A lot of people are moving around. And this was actually early in the pandemic, the first time when we didn't have secretaries at the schools. In this second round of pandemic EBT, we have secretaries in the schools, so it's actually going much smoother. But we coordinated with a number of different offices. The Office of Student Enrollment and Placement did a lot of work in making sure that the website was updated to accept address changes from families. And that was a key piece of our success, was making sure we had an electronic way of handling this while the schools were and are closed. The Office of Information Technology helped, obviously, to move that information through our student information system. And then the Office of Education for Children of Youth Experiencing Homelessness helped us understand where to send the cards for students that were experiencing homelessness. So we set up a Google Doc to help us make sure that we had the most updated, correct information for those students. And then, of course, our Office of Communications worked to make sure that we were able to get our robocalls, text messages, and emails out through our system. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But the Office of Communications also coordinated with our Mayor's Office of Children and Youth Services, which was an important piece to help make sure that our city council members and those that are in the government public side of of services for citizens understood what pandemic EBT was, because they were getting phone calls in their district offices from their constituents trying to understand what pandemic EBT was. So that was a really important connection we made the first time around that is serving us well the second time. And then the Coalition Against Hunger is our local grassroots organization that helps advocate for benefits for families, and they've really helped guide us through pandemic EBT and making sure that we have a lot of really good information to share. And then, of course, our state agency they are the ones who are providing the information to us from the federal government. So they also have been really helping for us in the state of Pennsylvania, really make the connection between the Department of Health and Human Services, which is issuing the benefit, and then the school districts who are supplying the address information for the cards. So to touch on our parent outreach, we did do a series of robocalls, text messages, and email messages about the need for address update. And I did share our templates with FRAC, so I believe they're part of the toolkits that are being provided. The real big push for us now is messaging for our pre-K families. So we have specific messaging making sure that the pre-K families know about pandemic EBT and making sure that they're enrolled in the SNAP benefit. So I just gave you a little quick sample here of what a text message was that we sent out to our families. And you can also see our website there. And I will get to that in a second, but I'm going to show you a screenshot of our website so you can see some more information. The other piece of really critical information was making sure that the executive leadership made sure our principals understood. There's, we have 250 schools. There were some schools that really embraced the information and others that didn't, but we did our best to make sure that everyone understood what pandemic EBT was, where to go for information, and what the next steps were if they had a question or a problem. And it was all mostly web-based. So that's really where our website, which is translated into our district's top 9 languages that are in use, really came in handy. So I'm going to have you go to the next slide. And this is a screenshot of our webpage with all of the different languages at the top and the phone lines that families can use. And right now, this is a screenshot from yesterday. We are focusing on the pre-K students because we actually sent our file to the state last week for our initial round of data that we needed to send up. You can see, and if anybody wants to go there and copy and paste our materials, it's mostly from the state of Pennsylvania. It's all public information. You're welcome to not reinvent the wheel, take what we've done and bring it over to your district as well. Happy to share those resources. And that is in a nutshell what we did. And I think the thing to do is embrace pandemic EBT, do what you can to make sure that your students' addresses are as up to date as possible when you're sending that file over to your state agency, however they need you to do that. And meeting those deadlines is important. Making sure that you back up your deadlines to meet their deadlines was also something that we needed to do to make sure we had enough time to clean our data to get it up to the state agency. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much, Amy. We have a few minutes left for questions if you want to enter them in the Q&A box now. If we don't get to your question or you have a state-specific question, we can follow up with you individually after the webinar, or you can send your question to either of these addresses and we can try to address the question there. We already have had a few questions come in, so I'm going to start with, we have a question. We have been seeing the summer option as of mid-September, so we did not continue receiving applications as we would in a normal year. Therefore, our free and reduced price numbers were low. Do I need to send it to free and reduced price students that are still coded from last year that have not sent in an application that would likely have been free and reduced again this year? So just for 2020, 2021, depending on your state, schools can utilize their 2019-2020 free and reduced price school meals list. But at the same time, it would be a very good idea to push out the school application to all families to capture newly eligible students because a lot of people have lost jobs and lost income and are now newly eligible for free and reduced price meals. And if they don't have the opportunity to fill it out, they cannot get the benefit. Let's see. So we have a question, what if your district is currently not processing meal applications? Kind of similar, but this was about a CEP district. So all CEP districts are completely covered with all students will receive P-EBT. CEP means that everyone will receive the benefit. So if you are a CEP school or you have CEP schools, all of the students within those schools should receive the benefit without free reduced price meal applications. Okay, let's see. I am behind on these. Okay, do states have different ways of how they're collecting the student information? Yes, so each state has to submit a plan on how they're collecting data from school districts. So some are using a data portal, like some are having schools upload individual information. Some states are, because this year is based on a learning model, depending on how much benefit, or for how much benefit you're going to receive. So some states have a standard hybrid benefit and a standard virtual, fully virtual benefit, and some are going off of individual student schedules. So it just depends on which state. If you go to the FNS website, which will be linked in the presentation, you will be able to click on your state plans and see what your state is doing. We are also, FRAC is putting together one-pagers on every state's, every state's, I'm blanking on the word, every state's plan, there we go. Every state's plan, we're doing a summary sheet for each state that's been approved. And we should have those up hopefully by mid-May, so that it's easier for you to pull out the information on what your state is doing. So one of the questions is, are there programs available for those students who do not qualify for free or reduced lunch? So currently, schools are also able to do grab and go on top of their P-EBT benefits. And I know that a lot of schools they waived area eligibility, so most students can receive meals at their school or at summer sites this summer on top of P-EBT benefits. So if a free reduced price student wants to do a grab and go as well, they can do that. If they're not free reduced price, the grab and go is still available. Yes, we have a question. Are the state plans public information? How can we get a copy of our state plan? Those are all on the FNS website. And also in our, on our website, we have links to each state's website. So you can either go to our website or you can go to FNS. How does the state troubleshoot when students don't receive P-EBT and are eligible? So each state has to, in their plan, address how they will troubleshoot questions and missed students. This year, a lot of them are turning to specific P-EBT hotlines and online forms. And currently, on the FRAC website, so if you go to frac.org/P-EBT and go to our FAQ, we actually are pulling all of the hotlines into one document so that somebody can, if you need to look up your state's P-EBT hotline, you just have to click on that document and you can find who to call for troubleshooting P-EBT issues, which includes not receiving when eligible.
I will add that for our state, we did actually get specific questions about specific students emailed to us. And we had an email exchange of the information if there needed to be clarification of a student's enrollment, date of birth, something like that, or even the enrollment of the student of what school, because sometimes families would call the hotline and say that they attended a school in our school district, but they weren't in our enrollment. So we would do a little bit of research to try to help find that student. So that's how it worked for us.
So if a state plan hasn't been approved, are the applications available for viewing? Not until a state is actually approved does FNS post the plan on the site. So I think just today we had Maryland and one other state, and they were posted right away. So as soon as your state is approved, you will be able to see the plan. So if students are learning in person, If students are learning in person but are CEP, will they get the benefit? Will it only be days the school is closed if they did any virtual learning? school is fully in person and students are receiving meals, they will not receive the P-EBT benefit. It's only if a school is hybrid or a school is fully virtual or is closed for a certain amount of time, and they will only receive benefits for those days. Though, as I read it and as FRAC reads the new USDA guidance, they should be receiving the summer P-EBT benefit, even if they were fully in person. So that is how we read the guidance currently. If a family didn't fill out free or reduced price for this year, but would have qualified, will P-EBT be backdated? Yes, actually. So if a student receives submits a free and reduced price meal application before the end of the year, it is assumed that they would have received benefits they would have qualified for the entire school year. So they should be getting entire school year benefits, even if they are just now approved. And for the summer, as long as they are approved for free and reduced price meals before the end of the summer period, whatever that is stated by the state, they should receive the full summer benefit as well. They will not get the school year benefit, but they'll get the summer benefit. Let's see. There's a huge incorrect address situation. Any ideas on how to get correct addresses without putting too much burden on schools? Amy, do you have it?
Yeah, I can jump in here. And one thing that I think was effective was the shared responsibility of the address correction. So if students needed their diplomas mailed home, we needed to have a correct address. We also need a correct address for routing of buses and other information that the students need through the district. So partnering with other departments that also need that information and can push and can help support that push would be my recommendation. It's always going to unfortunately end up on the person who is responsible for making the change in your student information system. But the more help you can give in terms of reasons why you need to get that address from the families, the more address changes you'll get.
So we have just a few minutes left. And like I said, if we do not get to your question, I will follow up with you after the presentation, or I will try to reach out as soon as I can. So I did have a question about P-EBT over the summer, and as I said, that's still kind of getting worked out. So the summer P-EBT will be given to students who either received P-EBT benefits in the last month of the 2020-2021 school year, or who were receiving free or reduced price meals during that last month if their school was fully in person. So it's pretty much all free and reduced price students who should receive the summer benefit. And that's just widely how the school aged will work. There's another piece with children under 6. We're hoping to get an FAQ up on our website soon on summer P-EBT, so just keep looking for that. So if a student is currently hybrid, will they only receive P-EBT benefit for the days that they are not in school? That is correct. And even then, it doesn't always match up one for one. It depends on your state. Some states are doing it's very confusing. Some states are doing just a general hybrid. All students who are hybrid get X amount of dollars or are in school X amount of days based on a state average. So it's really just something that you have to look out for your state. And if you have questions, reach out to the hotline about your students' benefits. And it is actually now 3:30, so we're going to have to wrap it up. But like I said, I should be able to reach out to those questions that I have not gotten to. So thank you all very much. Thank you so much, Amy, and I hope you all have a great day.